Hi, I'm Stephen Howard, and welcome to this video on the art of humany leadership. In today's video, we're going to talk about the second set of 10 powerful skills of human leadership. Now, as I said throughout this series, these are not soft skills by any stretch of the imagination. The human leadership approach terminates the mindset that human-focused leadership skills are soft skills. They're anything but. They're actually the most essential skills you need for success in today's environment. Now, admittedly, this will be a bit uncomfortable for many, but the good news is being uncomfortable is where personal growth begins. So here are the second 5 of the 10 powerful skills of human leadership. Tenacity, being intentional about how you build relationships as a leader, turning forced collaboration into cooperative collaboration, knowing how to lead workplace well-being, and at the same time understanding the core elements of stress management. And lastly, perhaps most importantly, lifelong learning for both yourself and for others. So let's look at each of these 5 in a little bit more detail. First, tenacity. When we think about tenacity, we often think about its relationship to overcome failures and obstacles that get in the way of goal attainment. But in actuality, there is more to tenacity, especially as a leadership skill. Your role as a leader obviously is to lead people. So let's look at how tenacity impacts that aspect of your leadership. So I would suggest to you that tenacity means, first of all, having more people patience. Look, we're coming out of a pandemic. People are stressed, they have anxiety, and have angst, particularly about returning to the workplace environment. Your role as a leader is to have more patience with people. And I'll tell you what, it's going to take sometimes multiple communications. What you used to be able to tell people once or twice, and they would understand. They have so much in their mind these days, so much going on, so many other responsibilities outside the workplace that it may take more frequent communications for you to get your ideas across, for people to understand what your strategies are. Just be patient with them. I think the other aspect of tenacity when it comes to people leadership is don't give up on people so early. Have a bit more tenacity with them. Coach them more, mentor them more, spend more time with them. You know, with the great resignation going on, you can't afford to lose the people who are staying with you. But realize that, they have a lot going on in their lives. And work may not be the same priority to them as it was before the pandemic. But don't give up on them so quickly. Figure out how to coach them, mentor them, develop them. If people are growing, if you're giving them more responsibilities, more opportunities to grow in the workplace, the chances are they're going to stay with you longer. And that's really critical in today's world. And, it's very interesting. When you shift from being a boss, a manager, to being a leader, your relationship focus changes from oversight to trust. And that's what people want in today's world. They want to be trusted. They want to be respected. There's a huge difference between having subordinates and direct reports and having followers and team members. Managers have subordinates. Managers have direct reports. Leaders have interactive, participatory, engaged, and collaborative followers. Managers lead based on authority. Leaders lead based on involvement, motivation, and alignment with a purpose. In fact, the best leaders build and manage relationships with intent and purpose. Now, this doesn't mean being soft and trying to be everybody's friend in the workplace. No. You cannot establish or preserve trust by avoiding or procrastinating over having hard, difficult conversations. Yeah, they're awkward. They can be uncomfortable. But so is stewing over unresolved issues, allowing conflict to simmer, or even coping with inadequate performance. So you have to have those hard, difficult conversations with people. That's important. That's part of being a leader, part of the responsibility of being a leader. And that is particularly true when it comes to feedback. One of the things I've noticed in my almost 30 years of developing, mentoring, and coaching over 10,000 leaders from around the world is that so many first-line leaders, new leaders, supervisors, managers, team leaders, they're hesitant to give performance feedback. They don't like it. They procrastinate. They're so fearful of the pushback that they might receive when they give so-called critical or constructive feedback. But if you don't give that feedback, you can't help your team members improve. Remember, one of your key responsibilities as a leader is to develop your people. You can only do that through mentoring and coaching them, particularly through feedback. So don't put off those hard conversations. They won't damage your relationship. In fact, if you give feedback with the intention of helping the other person improve their behavior, their performance, their competency, and their confidence, you're going to build trust and respect with that person. That's what relationship management is all about. Moving on to well-being and stress management. Well, quite frankly, the ability to proactively lead workplace wellness, the well-being of yourself and others is really now an important new skill. The mantra of more is definitely not healthy, and it's not conducive to workplace wellness. Not only is workplace wellness the right thing to do, it also has an enormous impact on bottom line profitability. According to the World Health Organization, in 2021, the global economy loses roughly $1 trillion per year in productivity due to depression and anxiety. And here in the United States, the American Institute of Stress estimates that workplace stress alone costs U.S. businesses roughly $500 billion annually. These are not insignificant sums. But it's important to understand that workplace wellness goes well beyond the typical types of the EAP, employee assistance programs. This is not about gym memberships or yoga classes on site or having competitive walking step programs within your organization. You really have to take a look at the workplace climate that you're responsible for as a leader, whether that's a team of 6, a business unit of 600, or even an organization of 6,000. In recent years, there's been numerous research reports, studies that have shown direct linkages between workplace wellness and employee engagement and employee retention. And, this makes intuitive sense. After all, without wellness, employees cannot do their work. Sick workers simply don't show up at the workplace and they're not productive and the results are impacted accordingly. Healthy workers, on the other hand, translate into healthy organizations, which in turn translate into healthy economies, which is good for all of us. Prior to the pandemic, the focus of employee health was almost solely on workplace safety. Now, the notion of employee well-being just started to creep into conversations just prior to the pandemic, particularly with concepts like psychological safety in the workplace. But today, it has to encompass so much more. But this is not a checkbox activity, nor is it a suite of employee assistance programs that provide access to professional counseling and help services. Workplace wellness needs to be all-encompassing. It needs to be part of your culture and include the physical, emotional, and mental health aspect of all of your employees, whether, again, you're leading a team of 6, a department of 600, or an organization of 6,000. There are so many aspects to workplace wellness that we can't cover them all here in this video, but this is certainly a skill that you're going to need to be successful going forward. Let's talk for a moment about cooperative collaboration. We've gone from a business world where the firm with the best and smartest employees would usually win to, quite frankly, today, the firm with the greatest collaboration is going to come out on top. Now, most collaboration in the workplace is forced. Individuals and team members are thrown together to produce a desired outcome or a dictated outcome. Then when that happens, self-preservation typically kicks in. Those on the team look around the room and think about who's going to get credit, whose idea is going to win, what is their specific role in the team. Do they actually have to contribute or just be seen as contributing? And will this be a waste of their time? Mandated and forced collaboration works on dictated outcomes or objectives. On the other hand, cooperative collaboration creates value-adding outcomes. I remember years ago speaking with one of the vice presidents at a Fortune 500 leading technology organization. And when we were talking about collaboration, he basically said to me, I will happily collaborate with anybody from the beginning of the year until the end of August. And I kind of looked at him quizzically and said, why only over those 8 months? And he replied honestly to me. He said, well, my bonus is based on my KPIs, what I achieve and what my department achieves. And so for the last 4 months of the year, that's all we're going to focus on, our KPIs, because I want my bonus and I want my team members to get their bonuses. Well, at least he was honest, but quite frankly, he understood the system in that organization and he played that system. And so he would only collaborate for those first 8 months of the year. And for those last 4 months, they were totally focused on their own objectives. That doesn't work very well in today's world. When a culture rewards collaboration, cooperative collaboration is based around things like hearts and minds producing the best ideas and the best solutions. People keep thinking about the issue even outside meetings. And most interesting, you often get evangelists and advocates for the project, for the change initiative, and they go around encouraging other people to support it. So as a leader, you need to nurture, not mandate collaboration. Doing so will turn forced collaboration into cooperative collaboration. When people put their hearts and minds in collaboration, they automatically bring their best thinking and their passions with them. Ideas and innovation ensue. They passionately support the project goals, and the contributions of others. That's the way to success in today's world. And our 10th and final powerful skill of humany leadership is lifelong learning. One of my most favorite and probably most repeated mantras is very simple. Never stop learning, because life never stops teaching. Lifelong learning is a wonderful mindset. Over the last 30 years, I have trained, coached, and mentored over 10,000 leaders from every continent in the world, except Antarctica, of course, because it's too cold down there. And yet, each month, I still read anywhere from 30 to 40 articles, and every year I read probably 6 to 8 books on leadership. I'm constantly learning more about leadership. And if you think about it, 2 years ago, conversations I had with leaders about remote leadership, the mindset was all about, this is temporary. We'll be back in our offices within a few months. Well, we've learned now that remote leadership is a skill that people are going to need well into the future. This is not temporary. This is now a permanent skill that you need in your tool bag. So leadership is constantly changing, and having that mindset of lifelong learning for yourself is really good, because it models that behavior for all of your team members and all your peers, and encourages them to continue to keep learning. A lifelong learning mentality is really just part of a growth mindset. And you can't be a humany leader with a fixed mindset. Those with a growth mindset, they understand that effort, education, learning, training, they can transform a person's qualities, their traits, even their intelligence. So humany leaders place a high importance on continuous learning, continuing to develop themselves and the people they lead. This comes both through formal learning opportunities as well as experiences and insights from others. And that's why it's highly recommended that you cultivate a growth mindset throughout your team. After all, the continuous development and training of your team members, particularly in these so-called soft skill areas of teamwork, collaboration, working across boundaries, these are the very keys to scaling every part of your business. So there you have it, the second 5 of the 10 powerful skills of human leadership. Tenacity, being intentional about your relationships and how you manage your relationships. Cooperative collaboration, well-being and stress management, and lifelong learning for both you and for the people you lead. If you want to have details on all 10 of these powerful skills, please pick up a copy of my book, Humany Leadership, available at Amazon in both paperback and Kindle editions. In the book, I go into quite a bit of detail on the mindsets, the skills, and behaviors required to be a successful, people-centric leader in today's world. I hope you're enjoying this video series. If you do, please hit the like button below, or even better, subscribe to our YouTube channel on leadership. And in the next and last video in this series on the art of human leadership, I'll share with you what the benefits are of being a humany leader. In the meantime, I wish you continued success.